I'm seeing quite a lot of people on social media now going how personal development ruined my life. And that's because they went in, saw all the negative stuff and didn't take the action for change and just noticed all the things that were apparently wrong with them. But it is about taking the action and not getting stuck in the negativity that the personal development books usually spend the first third or 2/3 pointing out to you what they are.
Welcome to Medics in Control, the podcast for doctors who want more control over their time, money, and direction without leaving medicine. I'm Jamie Gross, and I'm joined by certified money coach Fanny Snaith. This podcast is about creating the headspace to think more clearly, ask better questions, and build a life of living and working that actually feels aligned. Each week, we talk about the things that sit in the background for a lot of doctors: money, mindset, direction, and that quiet drift that can happen when you're moving from one thing to the next. If you've worked hard to build a career in medicine, but something doesn't quite feel right, you're definitely in the right place. And if you want to go a step further, we've created the Medics in Control Network, which is a space to be part of the conversation with other doctors who are starting to think and live a bit differently. Join us at medicsincontrol.com/Medics in Control -network. Let's get into today's episode.
So Jamie, today we're going to talk about self-development. Because I know you've been in the self-development world for how long? When did you first discover self-development?
Not long at all, really. 2023?
Okay.
3 years.
Okay. And I think I developed it probably about 20 years ago in one shape or form or the other. And I think it's really worth exploring. I remember once writing an article about what I called it shelf development. Some people call it shelf development, because we've got these bulging shelf of books, sort of groaning under the pressure of all these things that we can do and we can't do. And I was basically saying that if we read all these books, wouldn't it be interesting if people like Tony Robbins and all these other self-development, Mel Robbins and all these people would be out of a job? Because what I'm seeing is that the self-development industry is huge, and yet people not really getting the value out of it that it's supposed to be, because we're just buying more and more books. So I thought today we could discuss the value of the self-development industry, or just the value of it, how to get the most out of it, and how to make it work best for change, for individual change.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think the thing that came up for me, and something that I did for a very, very, very long time, was I read a lot, listened a lot, and took very little action. Now, the reasons behind not taking the action can be argued, but I would say there's one thing that you think, oh yeah, I can't be bothered, I don't need to do that exercise. And how easy is it to be going on your walk, listening to an audible book or something and not have a pen and paper to hand, so you just skip over the exercises. Secondly, you don't think that they really apply to you, and you don't think you're going to get the value out of them, so you don't bother with that, which is a big mistake, I would say. And then I think there's also another reason that people don't do it, and it's basically avoiding being uncomfortable while you're on your own. And actually, there possibly are deeper things going there that I'm discovering in myself, etc. That, everything in your body is going, what? Sit down and do some reflection on X, Y, and Z. You've got to be bloody joking. It's not gonna, I'm not going there. So I think There's a question. So when is self-development genuinely helping you grow, and when is it just sophisticated procrastination? How do you know the difference? I know you know the difference because you've made massive changes since 2023. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, before we do that, thanks. You've summarised it beautifully, actually. Before we actually do that, I thought it was just important just to say why is it becoming more and more relevant? And I think it's because we are living in a world of change that we've never seen to this extent before. We've never seen the level of change that we've ever seen before in our lifetimes. The fact that AI, most of us hadn't even heard of AI before the pandemic. Now it's everywhere, and now people are talking about, oh my God, what's going to happen to? Forget about medics for a moment. Every single industry, people are thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? And I just think that there seems to be just a general, since the pandemic, a general degree of, I don't know, sort of dissatisfaction, maybe. Lack of certainty, dissatisfaction, people thinking to themselves, I've been doing this job now for so much, and is that all there is? And maybe people are consuming on social media and seeing other people that are doing amazing things, and then they're looking at their own lives and thinking, well, that's just not me, and I'm a failure, etc. It's interesting.
Dopamine levels been messed around with.
Well, yeah, I mean, going on screens. We're living in a digital world now where we are searching for that dopamine here, and to try and spend time off the phone is increasingly challenging to lots of people, including me. So I think the first thing to ask ourselves is, why is personal development important? And the reason why I went into personal development is because I felt really stuck a few years ago. It wasn't just my career, it was lots of different things. I felt stuck financially. I thought to myself, I'm not bad at all, but I'm not as where I want to be financially. I felt stuck professionally because although I'm a consultant and performing well externally, I didn't really know what the future direction was, because as you know, I'm very, very big on personal growth anyway. And that wasn't quite clear. You talked about uncertainty. It's a bit uncertain once you reach that consultant level of what you're going to do next. And you kind of have to find out your own way. And that's the reason why I did it. But it's interesting what you say, because we now live in a world of information overload. We got our phones. Like any information that you want is available at your fingertips. And it's interesting because I don't know how many times you experience this yourself, but whenever I'm just sitting doing nothing, and if I get an idea in my head, I'm going straight to my phone, going onto ChatGPT, asking it, and I'm getting my question answered straight away. Yeah. So literally there's information everywhere. And because of that, it's never been easier to put content out on YouTube and other platforms. And it's very easy to get consumed into lots of information. But
okay, but let's go back.
I'm not quite finished yet. Okay. I will be in a minute. It's fine. But the thing is, I think it's become more of a skill to filter out the stuff which is not relevant to you. And there's no point in consuming any information from me if you're not going to be able to apply it.
Yep. Very good point. So the action, not just distraction.
Yeah, because I think it's quite right what you say. I think we all, talking about the dopamine hit, if we listen to a podcast, whether it be this one or something else, or we consume content and it's interesting to us, then we're getting our dopamine hit filled. So we're getting satisfaction from listening to that. Mm. Just in the same way as pick your favorite TV program or your favorite Netflix episodes, box sets. We get that satisfaction from doing that. Mm-hmm. But if we're if we are clear and we're intentional that actually we want to start making meaningful changes to our lives, we need to be able to distinguish between the content that we consume that is going to help us, that we're going to be able to learn from and apply, versus the content that we're just consuming because it's giving us that dopamine hit.
Yeah, or just listening to something that we think we should listen to because we know that it's going to help us sometimes. So we're really talking about action taking, really.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
One thing that popped up while we were talking about action taking, which I think is quite a good example, is that let's go back to medics, because I think we're here, right, to medics in control. So one of the things that everybody talks about in personal development is gratitude. Gratitude practice. Got to be grateful for things. And I be honest with you, I have a gratitude practice. I genuinely do feel grateful when I put the light switch on. I say thank you to my car every time I get out of it. I know that seems a bit weird, but I do. But it's interesting, isn't it, that I hear some people who are feeling very dissatisfied with their lives, and then they go and they talk about I am great. I'm grateful for things, and they go, and it's all this I should be grateful for. You know, so they take the gratitude practice and they go, well, I should be grateful. So they're going, I'm grateful. I've got loads of money coming in, right? I've got a lovely house. You know, I've got a really great job, etc. Well, I might not be enjoying it that much, but I still feel discombobulated with it. And that then is a case of, well, because I've got all these things, I shouldn't want any more. Like they settle for less because they feel that they should be grateful. And I think that's one thing in personal development that they don't, that, you know, sort of go, well, I've tried the gratitude and it doesn't work. Do you understand what I mean?
I think I do. I think there's two angles to this.
Yeah.
So the first angle that I see is saying one thing is very different from actually feeling it and meaning it.
Of course.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The reason why I think gratitude practice, I mean, it's interesting actually, because one of our participants said they didn't really resonate with the word gratitude. It was more appreciating what we already have. And I think that's probably more relevant because if we don't appreciate what we already have, it basically means that we're continually searching for the next best thing. And then, exactly, it's never enough. So let's supposing I want £1 million. I want £1 million portfolio, and I'm, you know, because life is rubbish. I can't afford, you know, I can't have the nice things. All of a sudden you get to £1 million because you've got that mindset of not appreciating what you already have. When you get to that £1 million mark, it doesn't mean anything, and you want the next thing. Okay, and if
you never actually arrive anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And if we're always wanting, then we're never going to be satisfied. So that's where I think what we call gratitude practice or appreciating what you have is really important. And but it's all very well saying it, but you actually genuinely have to feel it, and you actually have to feel it.
Of course. Okay.
So that's one area.
That's one area.
Yeah.
So and for those that say I should be grateful, so I shouldn't want more. That's not gratitude. That's like self-silencing, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for me to comment on that because I can only really give the best perspective and insight based on my own experience, and I haven't actually ever been in that situation. But I know that there are a lot of colleagues out there that they feel that they should be grateful. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is a mindset issue, or I mean, what's going on there? Do you think?
Well, I think it's like an obvious solution to that's pursued rather than doing the deeper work. You know, I don't feel very, you know, Jamie, I'm not feeling very happy today. Oh, what's the matter with you, Fanny? I don't know, I'm just feeling really, you know, just like there's just, you know, is this it? And you go, well, I don't know what you're moaning about. You've got a house, you've got a husband, your lovely husband, you've got 2 kids, you've got that. What have you got to moan about? We hear it all the time from people. We've constantly been told that we've got nothing to moan about. What is it? There's even hashtag first world problems, right? So it's easy to slip into it, I think. But I think, but let's just using this rather than going down this whole gratitude thing. It's really this. What I meant for this one was to show a point of where personal development will say, get a gratitude practice, and you sort of come out and you do this gratitude practice, but it doesn't really work. It's like the same thing with manifesting.
Yeah.
They sort of say, let's manifest something, and they in some places they will tell you. So you've just got to sit there and go, I want a red Ferrari on the drive, I want a red Ferrari on the drive, I want a red Ferrari on the drive, etc., etc. But you don't have to do that feeling, you don't have to really do it. But I think what we're trying to say is personal development is quite hard work, isn't it? You've got to really do the work in order and take the action in order to get the outcome, not just simply read a book, go, yeah, that was nice, put it on the shelf and carry on with your daily life.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the gratitude there, because I'm not sure if we've actually properly answered this thing. Where does gratitude fit in? You mentioned about a lot of people say it just doesn't work. I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, so somebody's feeling not very happy and they're feeling that they want to do some personal development work.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Right.
they pick up a book and it goes, you got to have a gratitude practice. Okay, it's one of
Well, who says?
The book.
Right, the book says you've
right?
got to have a gratitude practice. Okay.
You have a gratitude practice, right? So this is one of the, what do they say? Live in the moment, have a gratitude practice, meditate. There's all these things that the books typically say. Okay.
Okay.
So the person sitting there going, yeah, I'm really thankful for the light. Yeah, I'm really thankful for my house. Yeah, I'm really grateful. I should be grateful for all these things because looking at me compared to everybody else,
right,
what have I got to moan about?
Yeah, right. Okay, so I should be grateful, but I'm actually miserable with it.
Yeah, because it's not helping me because I don't feel any better about it.
No,
I'm still miserable. So
no.
Foundationally, you can be grateful for everything that you have.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean to say that you still don't. That you can still want more. You can still feel trapped in your life.
So what you're saying there potentially is that we are influenced by what other people are thinking, or what we're perceiving other people are thinking about us. So when you're looking at a consultant or a GP or anyone else in the medical profession that's externally doing well,
yeah,
there's going to be lots of friends and family saying, "What have you got to moan about? You're on one of the top earners,
absolutely,
in the country. You're doing an amazing profession. Why do you need to? Why are you having a moan?" But at the end of the day, yes, you can tell yourself, "I should be grateful," but if we really dig deep into this, if we're not happy, we're just not happy.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So you can either continue to be miserable about things, in which case you're never going to be happy, or
exactly.
or you can start on a different journey.
Exactly. So you dig deeper.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think we've come to it full circle, haven't we?
We've come to it full circle, but I think it's just quite interesting. Look, I think the self-development industry in itself isn't working.
No. Well, one thing I would say about that, I should be grateful for this. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter what you're thinking other people are perceiving you as. If whatever you're feeling is true to you.
Yes.
So if you are not happy in your professional role at the moment, for whatever reason, then you're not happy. It is true to you. So it doesn't matter what anyone else says, just buck your ideas up. I can't believe you complain. It makes no difference. You're miserable, okay? Yeah. So the fact is, once you recognize that and once you're aware of that, then you've got a choice. You can either continue in the same way, okay, and you say to them, "Oh well, you're right. I should be grateful. I will just carry on." Yeah. But then, is that going to help you how you feel? No. Or you can decide to do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so that's so I suppose hopefully that untangles that one. But I tell you what I find. This is what I find really challenging. And I've been doing this work not as long as you. I've been doing this work for about 3 years now. You've been doing it for 20 plus years. And this is the balance, because you got two schools, or you got two camps. You got some people don't even believe in personal development and productivity.
No.
And they just say, just live in the moment. Just be present. If you're present, life is great. Just appreciate what you have, and just be fully present. And I think the best example of this are people, the monks and the Buddhism. They don't ask for anything. They don't want anything. They're just fully present with their surroundings, and they have a fulfilled life for them. I personally can't be in that camp. If I was to try and do that, I would go nuts.
I think,
and therefore I need to do something that is what I love. Okay, what fulfills me the most is setting an ambitious goal, and going out there and achieving it.
Okay, so hold on a minute. Let's back up a little bit, because you talked about the monks. Can we reframe it slightly differently? Because the monks, even though they look like they're just living in the moment, what they're doing is they are doing loads of work behind the scenes. Okay? Let's reframe it. Let's think about the people who get up every day, go through their daily routine, go to bed, get up the next day, don't really plan for the future, don't really think about tomorrow, just live for the day. Do you know, they just go round and round and round and round and round. Okay? So, I mean, we could talk about somebody who has a job that does the same thing day in, day out, and they just, look, going back to the 50s and 60s, when we look at the manual workers, etc., doing the same thing. They came home, they brought the pay packet, went to the pub, gave them money to the wife did the cooking, and it was just a routine, right? Life was a routine. And then you've got the next level up, where maybe somebody becomes a supervisor, and they've got to start thinking about the rota for the week, right? And they can't just think about today. They've got to think about who's going to be in on Tuesday and Friday and whatever. Then you've got the managers who have got to think about the supervisors and the workers, and think about maybe sales figures and all that. I'm doing it in a business because it's easy.
Yeah.
Sales figures, etc. Then you've got the managing director, who's got to think about the whole, how the company's working, start thinking about shareholders and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got people, so he's having to really plan, because he's doing 5-year plans of the business and, where the companies go, then the CEO above that thinking. But then you've got people above that, like the inventors of the world, the visionaries of the world, the Richard Bransons, the Elon Musks, the people that are thinking, one day we're going to go to Mars, and all this kind of stuff. I don't think, really, any of that has got that much to do with living in the present moment. Because all of those people can live in the present moment. Because what they can do is they can be mindful of what they're doing in the now. Right? So they might not be doing the most exciting things, but they can be mindful of what they're doing now. And it's like, I know there's this argument about, well, if I'm just present in the day, how do I ever do some planning? I think you can, because it's like, I can be mindful and look at my glass of water closely, and think about my cup of tea and where the tea leaves came from, and be mindful about that. And I can start thinking about what I'm going to want to do in the future, but I can still be present. I think the two things are completely different. And if you listen to Eckhart Tolle in the Power of Now, I think you get that. It's just about, rather than constantly having your brain always in the future or always in the past, for there to be a really big significant part of the day being right here. You can do that on any level.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that, and I think one of the things that really immediately springs to mind when you talk about all this is our relationship with our phones.
Yeah,
and I think boundaries, keeping our boundaries with our phone. So in other words,
where are we when we're looking at? If I'm scrolling through,
well, I don't think we're
I don't think we're anywhere.
if we're engaging in the digital world, we're not present in the natural world, aren't we?
No, we're not. But
Right?
is there a reason why you can't be present in the digital world if the digital world exists? Don't know. Interesting question. I mean, it's
I
happening.
mean, I don't know, but the fact of the matter is that what from my experience, what I've noticed is the more I'm engaging in tech, the more that I'm getting all these thoughts popping into my head. And when I've got all these thoughts popping into my head, then is then it's very easy for your mind to be distracted towards those thoughts and as a consequence not be living in the moment.
I mean, quietening the mind, I would then argue, is something a little bit different, because quietening the mind is not necessarily the same as being in the present.
No, but let's what I want to do is let's relate this to doctors and to medics. What is the I mean, we can talk about this like until we're blue in the face, but what's the relevance, do you think, for doctors at the moment?
Well, we talk about burnout, don't we? And
Okay.
now I came up with these lines that I said to you before. I'm going to repeat them. I'm going to read them out, actually. Presence without responsibility becomes avoidance.
Right.
Responsibility without presence becomes burnout. So for doctors who are constantly doing, a big long to-do list and never being present, focusing on the self, taking care of themselves, etc., as they I'm going to say should, are going to head towards burnout. And yet, if we all just sit around doing nothing all day, thinking, "Oh, just in the moment, man," I mean, it's not, it's not very. You're not moving any further forward. So there's this balance about being present and think, what am I doing now? Who am I being? There you go. That's what we're talking about. Who am I being now? Am I being the person that is, I suppose, totally in my authentic self? Am I in alignment with my values? Am I in alignment with my purpose? Who am I being? And that's the kind of present that we're talking about, aren't we? Rather than just reacting to everything that's going on around us, like headless chickens, coming home, cracking open the wine, scrolling on the phone to completely escape the environment that we've just left.
Yeah, and and I'm just thinking, I mean, this is exactly me a few years ago, right? Okay, I was very reactive, and you're quite right in what you say. When you're reactive, you're not self-aware, and then therefore it's very easy to neglect your own needs.
Yes.
And there's a difference, isn't there, between being present and living in that world of appreciation that we spoke about right at the top of this podcast.
Yeah.
And escapism, escaping.
Yeah. So if you partner those things together, it's a good point, bring that up, Jamie. So let's say, for instance, you've been doing on the wards all day, and you come home and then you do all the do's that you have to do around your family and with your kids and all those kind of things. And then you think, oh, gratitude practice. Well, I should be grateful for everything I've got. You're literally heading down the slippery slope, really, aren't you? What have I got to moan about? Or even if somebody says it to you, I don't know, you're earning a fortune, you're a doctor, a doctor, I'm double what I'm earning, I don't know what you're moaning about. Oh my goodness, that's awful. That's a horrible thing to have to hear. And if you're going to take that on board and believe it as part of your doing pattern, then burnout's going to loom.
Yeah, and this is what you're saying, isn't it? Before about when you mentioned about personal development doesn't work, is that because we're not able to access that because we're being so reactive to everything?
Well,
and
exactly. And if you're reading the book and you're going, right, I've really got to learn about this. This book's all about this, and yeah, that was great. Next, and this book's all really good about this. Next, you're sort of frantically going from book to. I know because I did that.
Yeah.
I didn't take the time to do the exercises and things like that. And it's when you find the time to do the work and actually sit with yourself and go, what am I doing? Who am I being? Who do I want to be? What do I really want to do? What do I want to have? That's really the work, when you actually take this time to stop and reflect and put the teachings into action. And, you know, and it's like that same thing. Let's say, look, I've got this sitting on my desk, Atomic Habits workbook, James Clear. Like, you know, trying to create habits, and you consistently do something for a week or so, and then you don't do it. And it's so easy then to go, well, I'm just rubbish. I can't do this. This doesn't work, does it? But you look at, okay, so I didn't do it. You know, consistency isn't a straight line, and you go further into it, and you just take it a little step further, rather than beating yourself up and just passing over the work that was actually asked of you in the first place.
Yeah,
that's the thing, isn't it? And this is, you know, I have to say, I think you're a really good example of it, Jamie. You've not that part, the good part, in the fact that you did do the work. You really did do the work, but it took you to hit rock bottom to do it. That's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, I think with all of this sort of stuff, we're talking about accessing a world of opportunity.
Yes.
It's very, very. You can't access that world of opportunity unless you have clarity in mind.
Yes.
The absolute foundation for anything is to be completely at peace with yourself,
yes,
not stressed, and only then can you start building. And it's all about building, and it's about building over time, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I totally agree with you, because I think if we were to tell people that you've got to find peace before you can move forward, I think that's like that's really not gonna
okay. All right. Let's reframe it a different way.
The first thing is to be conscious and aware.
You're right. Okay. So let's say people listening to this podcast, they resonate what you're saying. They say, yeah, do you know what? I am in that situation. I am on this continual cycle of doing.
Yeah.
I have told myself I'm miserable, but everyone tells me how I've got no right to complain or to moan. I should be grateful, and I've just accepted that's how things are. Yeah. So let's supposing you've got someone listening to this right now.
Yes.
And I think, yeah, Fanny Jane, what you say makes complete sense.
Yes.
What now? What do I do now?
So, first of all, be conscious and aware that you're just not feeling it.
Okay.
Something's off.
Okay. So, right, we got to that point.
Right, something's off.
I recognise that something's off. I'm not happy. Right, what next?
So the next thing is, what would I do? I'd probably start with something really simple. And I'd start thinking about different areas of my life. I'd split up different areas of my life and go, well, hang on then, what, let's try and work out what's off, where it's off and where it's not off. Wheel of life, right? Really simple exercise. Circle, divided into pizza slices. Each area of each pizza slice got a name, like home, home environment, career, money, partner, friendship, spirituality, whatever you want them to be. You can find them everywhere on the internet. And do the exercise and reflect and go, by jingo, I've only scored a 4 for my relationships and friendships and connections. I've only scored a 2 for my career. Right. So now I'm starting to get a C of where things aren't working for me. And then you can then break it down a little bit more. What is it that I'm scored a 3 for my home environment for, or whatever it was, you know, and just start breaking it down. Go and do the classic exercises, but listen to yourself rather than listen to other people, and don't let sleeping dogs lie. Just be results focused, I would say, rather than going into a pit of doom and despair, going, oh, my life's so awful and this is where I'm living. We've all got a little victim inside of us, and victim's fine. Let it have a moan. But what you want to do is you don't want to stay there, because that can be a pit of doom. And actually, I'm seeing quite a lot of people on social media now going, how personal development ruined my life. And that's because they went in, saw all the negative stuff and didn't take the action for change, and just noticed all the things that were apparently wrong with them, of which obviously is not wrong with you. Nobody's broken. You don't need fixing, but you just need consciousness and awareness being the first step to change, and then take tiny steps towards the way that you want to be. Let's say, for instance, you've got some habits that you don't want. Say you're drinking too much, right? Say you're drinking too much, or you're smoking too much, or you're not getting enough exercise. Take it bit by bit. Right, I'm not getting enough exercise. This book says I need to go and get some more fresh air. I'm going to go outside, I'm going to walk around for 5 minutes. Little bits, but it is about taking the action and not getting stuck in the negativity that the personal development books usually spend the first third or 2/3 pointing out to you what they are.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. And also, the other thing I've noticed is to try, where possible, to stay away. If you're in that frame of mind, then probably limit the time you spend on social media, because we live in a world of comparison.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing worse than if you're feeling a bit stuck somewhere, you want to make a difference to it. You're talking about, I want to get fitter. I want to start off walking for 5 minutes every day just to clear my head. I think that's going to be useful. And all of a sudden you go on social media and you see these people doing like these most amazing things. All of a sudden your 5 minutes of walking just seems pathetic in comparison.
Yeah,
and then we beat ourselves up saying, oh, well, we're just a failure. We're destined for a life of misery. Why am I even bothering? So I think and this is the problem, isn't it? We live in a world where we are continuously comparing ourselves to other people, and and I just think it just doesn't help us at all. And I think I suppose that I mean, it's probably not time to talk about it now, but really important, I think, to be able to surround yourself with the right people, and people that we're all going to acknowledge you. You've got to acknowledge yourself, number one, but also people that are not going to judge you, that are going to support you in the best way possible. And 5 minutes. I mean, my wife, she's going to kill me for saying this, by the way, because she said, "Don't talk about me on any of this stuff." I will talk about her very quickly. She went out. Listen, I've just run a marathon a few weeks ago, and she is not as active as me. Well, not many people are, to be fair. But she's going to go. She wants to do the Couch to 5K. So last night, amazing, right? So last night she went out. She actually called me in the day and said, "Look, at 6:30 this evening, I put it into our diary. I'm going to go out and I'm going to start my Couch to 5K." And I said, "Absolutely brilliant." And she came back. She probably ran altogether maybe for 5 minutes and did a bit of walking in between. Amazing. Okay. And she could have very easily said, "Oh, Jamie's doing marathons and everything else, and I'm just like, this is pathetic in comparison." But no, it's I'm there to encourage and support her. If we can surround ourselves in people that are putting our own agendas to one side and supporting each other, it makes a huge difference.
I've had exactly this. I started picking up the weights at home because we got all the kit at home, and I said to Neil, I got into this series on Netflix, right? It was so good, Succession. And I've been watching that, and I've started lifting up the weights while I'm watching the television. And I said to Neil the other day, I said, if we got rid of that over there, I could put the weights bench over there and then put the telly on an arm, and it can start moving about. It's as good as done. It's as good as done.
Yeah.
Because it's so supportive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the thing you want, and be careful with people as well, because I've seen this as well. Oh my God, how many people two people going to do something together, and one of them starts leading or getting a bit further than the other one's not doing so well, and then the other one starts sabotaging the one that's doing well, because do you know what? A lot of people don't like to see people doing well.
Mm. Yeah, we see that a lot in medicine, I think, to be honest.
I bet you do, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition and things. It's not necessary, in my opinion, but yeah.
It's interesting to think. I mean, I genuinely now, when I see people succeeding at things, I just go, oh my God, well done. That's absolutely amazing. But I have to put my hand on my heart that I did used to be one of those people that go, oh my God, they've done that and I haven't done anything. You know, and there used to be sort of like a little bit of feeling of resentment in me. Awful. So again, that's something to notice.
That's right.
If you have that feeling coming up within you, notice it and then go, gosh, isn't that interesting, the way I feel about it? Not like, oh, I shouldn't feel like that about people. That's terrible. Just notice it.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Lovely. Okay. So we're just going to conclude the podcast. If we could say one takeaway that people can get from this, Fanny, what would it be?
Get conscious. Wake up. Don't just... Do you know, it's so funny, right? You know, these things...
One thing.
Yeah, I know it is one thing, but I just want to say this. You know, we say to ourselves sometimes, why did I do that? Why do I do this? You know what we hardly ever do? Stick around to work out what the answer is. We constantly go, why did I do that? Stay there. Why did you do it? What would you prefer to do? You know, so I think it's just let's wake up to what's going on in our minds. And if we don't like it, then we can start working on changing it, whatever that takes. Whether it be mindset, whether it be somatic work, whatever.
Great. Brilliant. Lovely. All right. Great chatting as always, Fanny.
Yeah.
We'll speak soon. Thank you for listening to Medics in Control. If this episode resonated, feel free to follow the podcast or share it with someone else in medicine who might get something from it. And if you'd like to explore more, you can join the Medics in Control network, www.medicsincontrol.com/Medics in Control-network. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next episode.